When your twin brother's engagement party happens without you, never thought I'd be sitting here, recording this story for strangers on the internet, but I need to get this off my chest because honestly, I don't know if I'm losing my mind or if what happened to me is as messed up as I think it is. My name is Alex, and I have a twin brother named Jake. When I say twin, I mean we literally shared everything growing up. The same room, the same friends, the same dreams. We're identical, and people used to joke that we had some kind of telepathic connection because we'd finish each other's sentences and show up wearing the same clothes without planning it. We went to the same college, though we studied different things, and even though life eventually took us to different states, we've always been incredibly close, or at least I thought we were. 3 months ago, Jake called me on a Tuesday evening. I remember it was a Tuesday because I had just gotten home from a particularly brutal day at work. I'm a software engineer at a startup in Seattle, and we were in crunch mode for a product launch. I was exhausted, microwaving some leftover Chinese food when my phone rang. The moment I heard Jake's voice, I knew something was different. He sounded giddy, like genuinely excited in a way I hadn't heard since we were kids on Christmas morning. Before I could even ask what was up, he just blurted it out, "Dude, I proposed to Sarah," and she said yes. I literally dropped my phone. Sarah is Jake's girlfriend of 3 years, and honestly, she's perfect for him. She's this incredibly smart, funny woman who works as a pediatric nurse in Denver, where Jake moved after college to work for an environmental consulting firm. I've always loved Sarah. She gets Jake's weird sense of humor. She calls him out when he's being ridiculous, and she makes him genuinely happy in a way I'd never seen before. So when he told me they were engaged, I was over the moon. I started screaming congratulations so loud that my upstairs neighbor banged on the floor to shut me up. We talked for over an hour that night. Jake told me how he'd planned this elaborate proposal at the place where they had their first date, this little hiking trail outside Denver with a view of the mountains. He'd coordinated with Sarah's best friend to make sure she'd be free that weekend. He'd gotten the ring custom made with her birthstone, and he'd even practiced his speech in the mirror for weeks. The whole thing was so perfectly Jake, thoughtful, romantic, and slightly overplanned in the most endearing way. I was genuinely emotional listening to him describe how she cried when he got down on one knee, how perfect the moment was, how he couldn't wait to start planning their life together. Near the end of our conversation, Jake said something that, looking back now, I should have paid more attention to. He said, "Listen, we're going to start planning an engagement party soon, probably in the next month or 2. I know you're swamped with work right now, but I want to make sure you can be there. I'll give you plenty of notice so you can book a flight and maybe take a long weekend. This is important to me. Alex, you're my twin, my best man, and I need you there." I remember feeling this warm surge of gratitude and love for my brother. Even in his moment of pure joy, he was thinking about me, making sure I'd be included. I told him that wild horses couldn't keep me away, that I'd move heaven and earth to be there for his engagement party. The weeks that followed were busy for both of us. Jake was deep in wedding planning mode. They'd decided on a summer wedding the following year, and Sarah apparently had a whole Pinterest board ready to go. Meanwhile, I was drowning in work. The product launch was consuming my life, and I was pulling 12-hour days regularly. But I made sure to check in with Jake every few days, and every time we talked, I'd casually ask about the engagement party. "Oh, we're still figuring out the details," he'd say. "Sarah wants to make sure we can get the right venue, and we're trying to coordinate with both sets of parents' schedules. But don't worry, you'll be the first to know when we nail down a date." I trusted him completely. Why wouldn't I? This is my twin brother, the person who knows me better than anyone else in the world. When we were kids and one of us got in trouble, the other would take half the punishment without being asked. When I was going through a rough breakup in college, Jake drove 6 hours just to bring me ice cream and listen to me vent. When he was struggling with anxiety during his first year at his new job, I flew to Denver 3 times just to hang out and remind him that he was capable and smart and going to be fine. We've always had each other's backs, always been each other's priority. So when he said he'd let me know about the engagement party, I believed him. A month passed. Then another week, I started to get a little antsy, not because I was worried about Jake, but because I needed to plan. Taking time off at my company requires at least 2 weeks' notice, and flights from Seattle to Denver get expensive if you book them last minute. I called Jake one evening in early October. "Hey, just checking in about the engagement party. Do you have any rough dates yet? I just need to start looking at flights and putting in for time off." Jake sounded a little distracted, but he said, "Yeah, we're narrowing it down. Probably sometime in November. I'll text you as soon as we confirm everything." I felt reassured. November gave us plenty of time to plan. 2 more weeks went by. I called again, and this time Jake sounded almost annoyed. "Alex, I told you I'd let you know when we have a date. We're still working out the details. Sarah's parents want to invite some of their family friends, and we're trying to find a venue that can accommodate everyone. Just ... trust me, okay? You'll know as soon as we know." Something about his tone felt off, but I chalked it up to wedding stress. Planning a big event is overwhelming, and I figured Jake was just feeling the pressure. By late October, I was starting to feel genuinely anxious. Not just about the party, but about Jake's behavior. Our phone calls had become shorter and less frequent. When I'd text him random funny memes or articles like I always did, his responses were brief and sometimes took days. When I called, he often seemed distracted or in a hurry to get off the phone. I started wondering if something was wrong. Maybe he and Sarah were having problems, or maybe work was stressing him out. I even considered flying to Denver just to check on him, but every time I thought about it, I'd tell myself I was being paranoid. This was just wedding planning stress. Once the engagement party was over, things would go back to normal. Then came November 15th. I was having a lazy Saturday morning, drinking coffee and scrolling through Instagram, when I saw a story posted by our cousin Emma. Emma is our age and has always been close with both Jake and me. Her story was a video of what looked like a really elegant restaurant or event space, with soft lighting and flowers everywhere. I could hear laughter and conversation in the background, and then the camera panned to show a crowd of people in nice clothes, holding drinks and clearly celebrating something. My heart started beating faster before my brain even processed what I was seeing. Then I saw him, Jake, in a navy blue suit I'd never seen before, with his arm around Sarah, who was wearing this gorgeous emerald green dress. They were both glowing, clearly the center of attention, and people were raising their glasses in what was obviously a toast. I watched the story 3 times before it really sank in. This was the engagement party. The engagement party that I was supposed to be the first to know about. The engagement party that was apparently happening right now without me. I immediately clicked through to Emma's other stories from that day. There were more videos and photos, a beautifully set dining room with round tables and elegant centerpieces. A close-up of what looked like a custom cocktail menu with Jake and Sarah's names at the top. A group shot of what had to be at least 50 or 60 people. I recognized almost everyone. Our parents were there, of course, and Sarah's parents, whom I'd met several times. Our aunts and uncles, cousins I hadn't seen in years, college friends, people from Jake's work. It was like looking at a guest list of everyone important in Jake's life. Everyone except me. I felt physically sick. Not just disappointed or hurt, but actually nauseous. I ran to the bathroom and dry heaved for about 5 minutes before sitting on the bathroom floor, trying to process what I'd just seen. My twin brother, my best friend, the person I'd shared a womb with, had planned and executed a massive engagement party without telling me. Not only had he not told me, but based on the scale and elegance of what I was seeing, this had been planned for weeks, maybe months. I grabbed my phone and started going through other people's social media, more photos, more videos, more evidence of this celebration that I knew nothing about. A college friend had posted a picture of our whole friend group from school with the caption, "So great to celebrate Jake and Sarah, almost like old times." Almost like old times, except one person was missing. Me, Sarah's sister, had posted a beautiful photo of Sarah laughing with the caption, "So happy we could all be here for this special night." Everyone except me. By this point, I was crying, not just sad crying, but angry, confused, betrayed crying. I called Jake immediately. It went to voicemail. I called again, voicemail. I sent a text, "I'm seeing photos of your engagement party on social media. What the hell is going on?" No response. I waited an hour and called again. Finally, he picked up. "Hey Alex, what's up?" His voice was casual, maybe a little forced, and I could hear the noise of the party in the background, people talking, music, the clinking of glasses. He was literally at the party while talking to me. "Jake, I'm looking at Instagram right now, and I see you're having your engagement party. The engagement party you promised to tell me about so I could fly in. What is going on?" I tried to keep my voice level, but I could hear how strained I sounded. There was a pause. A long pause, then Jake said, "Oh man, I could have sworn I texted you about this. Didn't you get my message?" His voice had this weird quality to it, like he was reading from a script. "No, Jake, you didn't text me. I've been waiting for weeks for you to tell me when this was happening. I've been asking you about it constantly. How could you forget to invite your own twin brother to your engagement party?" I was getting louder now, and I didn't care. "Look, Alex, I'm really sorry, but we had to finalize numbers for the venue. And when I didn't hear back from you, I figured you were too busy with work to make it anyway. You know how crazy your schedule has been lately." He was lying. I could tell he was lying because I've known him my entire life, and I know how his voice sounds when he's making something up. It gets slightly higher and faster, like it did when we were kids and he'd try to convince our parents that I was the one who broke something. "Jake, you never sent me a date. I've been waiting for you to tell me when this was so I could request time off work and book a flight. I told you I'd be there no matter what. How could you not hear back from me about something you never sent?" I was yelling now, pacing around my apartment. "I have to go. Alex, we'll talk about this later, okay?" And he hung up. He hung up on me while I was trying to understand why I'd been excluded from one of the most important events in his life. I sat on my couch for the next 3 hours, just staring at my phone, refreshing social media and seeing more and more photos from the party. The worst part wasn't even that I'd missed it, though that hurt beyond words. The worst part was seeing how happy everyone looked, how perfect and celebratory the whole thing was, and knowing that not one single person there had apparently asked where I was. Not one person had said, "Hey, where's Alex? Shouldn't Jake's twin brother be here?" Or if they had asked, Jake had clearly given them some explanation that satisfied them. Around midnight my time, I saw a post from my mom. It was a group photo of what looked like the immediate family, my parents, Jake, Sarah, and Sarah's parents. Everyone was smiling and looked elegant and happy. The caption read, "Such a beautiful celebration for Jake and Sarah. So proud of these two and excited for their future together." I stared at that photo for probably 20 minutes. My own mother had been at this party celebrating her son's engagement and hadn't thought to ask why her other son wasn't there. I called my mom the next morning. "Hi honey, how are you?" she said in her usual cheerful voice. "I'm confused, Mom. I saw your post from Jake's engagement party last night. When was I supposed to find out about this?" I tried to sound calm, but I was still hurt and angry from the night before. "Oh, Alex, didn't Jake tell you? We all thought you couldn't make it because of work." Jake said you were in the middle of some big project and couldn't get away. My mom sounded genuinely surprised that I didn't know about the party. Mom, Jake never told me about the party. I've been waiting for months for him to give me a date so I could plan to be there. I had no idea it was happening until I saw it on social media last night. There was silence on the other end of the line. That can't be right, honey. Jake specifically told us you couldn't make it. He seemed really disappointed about it. He said you'd tried to rearrange your work schedule but couldn't get the time off. My mom's voice was getting smaller as she spoke, like she was realizing something was very wrong. I never tried to rearrange anything because I was never given a date to work around. Jake told me he'd let me know when they planned it, and then he just didn't. I could hear my mom taking a deep breath. Alex, I think there's been some kind of miscommunication. This doesn't make sense. Jake loves you, and he was definitely sad that you couldn't be there. Maybe his text didn't go through. Or maybe there was some kind of mix-up with your phone. She was trying to find an explanation that didn't involve Jake deliberately excluding me, but I could hear in her voice that she was starting to doubt her own words. I've spent the last 3 weeks trying to make sense of what happened, Jake, and I have texted a few times, and he maintains that he thought he'd told me about the party, but he's never actually apologized or acknowledged how hurtful this was. When I pressed him about why he told everyone I couldn't make it instead of saying he'd forgotten to invite me, he got defensive and said he didn't want to make a big deal about a miscommunication during his engagement party, but here's what I keep coming back to. This wasn't a miscommunication. Jake is one of the most organized, detail-oriented people I know. He planned an elaborate proposal, he coordinated with venues and caterers, he managed a guest list of 80 people, he arranged for family to travel from out of state. The idea that he simply forgot to invite his own twin brother, the person he specifically told would be his best man, doesn't make sense. And the fact that he told everyone I couldn't make it, rather than that he'd forgotten to invite me, suggests that this was intentional. I don't understand why. I've been racking my brain trying to figure out what I could have done to make Jake want to exclude me from such an important moment in his life. Did I say something wrong? Did I offend? Sarah, somehow was I too busy with work and he felt like I wasn't prioritizing our relationship. I've gone through every conversation we've had over the past few months looking for clues and I can't find anything. The worst part is how alone I feel in this. Everyone who was at that party got to share in Jake and Sarah's joy, got to celebrate this milestone with them, got to be part of this important memory. I'm the only person who was left out, and now I'm the only person who seems to think that's a problem. Everyone else has moved on, posting their photos and talking about what a wonderful evening it was, while I'm stuck trying to understand how my relationship with my twin brother got to this point. I don't know what I'm looking for by sharing this story. Maybe I'm hoping someone will tell me I'm overreacting, that this kind of thing happens in families and I should just forgive and forget. Or maybe I'm hoping someone will validate what I'm feeling, that being deliberately excluded from your twin brother's engagement party is as devastating as it feels. All I know is that I feel like I've lost something I can never get back, and I don't know how to move forward from here. Jake texted me yesterday asking if I want to be involved in planning his bachelor party. Part of me wants to say yes, to pretend like everything is normal and try to rebuild our relationship. But part of me is terrified that if I don't address what happened with the engagement party, if I just let this go, it'll happen again. Maybe I won't be told about the bachelor party until after it happens. Maybe I'll find out about his wedding through social media too. I guess what I'm really asking is, how do you forgive someone who's supposed to be the most important person in your life when they make you feel like you don't matter at all? And how do you trust them again when they've shown you that your presence at their most important moments is optional? Because right now, I honestly don't know.